Shalom, shalom. We're back with another lesson. But before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rechak Wadash, to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. I like to get double honor. Shalom to the 144,000, to the 1/3, to the hopeful elect. Shalom. It's your brother Azaria back with another lesson. I'm going to call the growing split between the whore and her lover. And we're going to get into this article by Joshua Knitting that was on June 8, 2026. And the header read, "The growing U.S.-Israel split over Iran." We're going to start at its outset. The war known as Operation Epic Fury in the United States and the Operation Roaring Lion in Israel marked a historic first. The first time the two country militaries went to war fighting side by side. By all accounts, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was one of the key voices, if not the most important voice, influencing President Donald Trump's decision to launch the military operation, which has now lasted more than 100 days. And yet, it has been clear from the start that there were differences in the two country priorities when it came to the war. These differences had never been more evident than they were this past weekend, Salakia. On Sunday night, not this past Sunday, remember it was on the 8th. On Sunday night, Iran launched its first direct attack against Israel since the tentative ceasefire in the conflict in early April, firing a barrage of missiles at several targets, including an airbase. Tehran said it was retaliation for Israel's prior offensive in southern Lebanon. Trump said on Sunday that he had urged Netanyahu not to retaliate in order to allow the ceasefire talks to continue. He also told the Financial Times in an interview on Sunday that Netanyahu won't have any choice but to accept a U.S. negotiated ceasefire, adding, I call the shots, he said. I call all the shots. He doesn't call the shots. Yeah, that sounds like Trump, man. Nonetheless, Netanyahu appeared to take a shot of his own on Monday, with Israel launching strikes against petrochemical plants in southern Iran. It's the first strike inside the country since the ceasefire. U.S. officials say the U.S. military did not participate in the attack. The two sides have now taken steps to de-escalate. Iran's military said it concluded its operation against Israel for now, while Netanyahu instructed his military to halt preparation for another attack after Trump posted on Truth social media that both countries immediately stopped. Publicly, it looked like Netanyahu had defied Trump, although subsequently sources told the Wall Street Journal that Netanyahu had made it clear to Trump in a conversation on Sunday that he had to retaliate, and Trump had simply urged him to keep it limited. Either way, it's a signal that when it comes to the war, these two leaders' incentives are moving in opposite direction. The airstrike comes just a week after a tense phone in which Trump called Netanyahu fucking crazy and accused him of ingratitude over what Trump felt was Israel's disproportionate military action in Lebanon. On Sunday, according to Trump, he warned Netanyahu if it escalated the war further, he might soon be left to fight Iran alone. Which they kind of dumbed down the situation, but it was a lot of stuff that Trump backed Netanyahu in doing. A lot of those ceasefire things. Don't forget that at one point when America and Iran had a ceasefire, Trump made sure to get him a couple of licks in. See, they trying to make it seem like they were never really on the same page, but that Trump just helped them do certain stuff here and there. But no, at one point, these two lovers, United States and Israel, was definitely on the same page. That's why now it's come as a shocker. It wouldn't be a big of a shock if they was from the beginning kind of at odds, but they wouldn't. Whatever Netanyahu wanted to do, Trump actually backed him. Remember, he said Trump deserved a Nobel Peace Prize because he was the first president to actually help their ass. You see how Esau media ain't worth a damn, man? But now we're seeing them, Trump really starting to see just what type of person Netanyahu is. Like he said, like Trump said, he called all the shots, but he was never calling the shots in the first place. It's always with Netanyahu. That's why Israel always said, yeah, we'll do a ceasefire. And when everybody think everything cool, they would go ahead and sneak in and shoot anyway. So now all that shit done caught up with not only Israel, but with America too. As the scriptures say, the least of the flock shall draw them out. Now America has been drawn out into this war that they never really wanted, and now realizing that they couldn't even fight, that they shouldn't even been in. So now they're trying to broker peace deals with Iran, while Israel is doing all kind of wickedness behind their back. So now they're trying to disassociate from it. But before I get into the scriptures, I wanted to get something else, because this right here, that happened a week later. It happened earlier today. And this is by Namrata Sen, by the article of the Benzinga. And the header read, Israel vowed indefinite presence in Lebanon despite U.S. and Iran peace deal. We are not partners to this agreement. You see, that's that split that them grew even bigger, man. Netanyahu like, look, whatever deal you make with them niggas, that's on you. But for us, we're gonna keep throwing them things on them. And I read this earlier, and it's a part I want to get to. Let's see. We'll start here. While there's no immediate comment from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, members of his coalition have stated that Israel will not be bound by the terms of a U.S.-Iran agreement, according to the report. However, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said Israel must halt its military operation in Lebanon for the U.S.-backed peace deal to take effect. But as we see, man, these people are not going to stop. There's not going to be peace because Yahweh Ba'ashem HaShai doesn't require it. We're in a time of war. What is that, Ecclesiastes 3? It's time and a season for everything. We're in that season of war, man. There will be no more peace. Meanwhile, Israel National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir rejected the agreement, saying it does not bind Israel and insisting that the country would make its own security decision. He argued that Israel should not withdraw from territory captured by Lebanon, claiming the deals failed to adequately protect Israel's security interests. Well, how about you just stop firing on people and you won't have to worry about security? But you can't do that. See, Israel's that kid that only like to beat on other kids when he have help. But as soon as you touch them, they whine and swear and you killing them. Israel is not a subordinate of the United States, which he's right. We know Israel actually run the United States. We are not partners in this agreement, which does not safeguard our security. We must not withdraw from any territory in Lebanon. Remember, they did the same thing in Gaza. They didn't give up none of that area that they controlled and took over. So what made people think they're going to change here in Lebanon? That our fighters have captured, he said. Let's see if we got any more down here. The Trump-Netanyahu rift deepened. The peace agreement between the U.S. and Iran announced by President Donald Trump came a day after Trump warned Israel against further strikes in Lebanon, stating that such action could jeopardize the ongoing peace process. But like I said, man, it's not going to be any more peace. You see these guys in Israel don't want peace, man. That's why they said they have no affiliation with America when it comes to this peace deal, man. They want war to continue because you got to remember, if Netanyahu stop having wars, he's going to be brought up in court for all the war crimes that he did. So he got to continue to fight, continue to be in wars, or he's soon to be arrested and tried for all the evil and wickedness that he done. So of course he's going to have a problem with America now, when at first he loved to kiss their ass. Oh, Trump's such a great president. Or he do this. Or he's so great, he need that. He need this. But now that they're at the odds and buck ahead, Netanyahu don't have those sweet words for Trump like he used to. But like I said, this is all the will of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai, that these two lovers be brought to naught, that their love affair start coming to an end. And Slacky for the long intro, man. We're going to get these scriptures. We're going to start here first. This is Mark 3:23. And he called unto them and said unto them in a parable, how can Satan cast out Satan? And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, and that house cannot stand. And we're watching the house of Esau being divided even further, man. The two who was kind of together, now we're seeing them starting to break up. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand but have an end. And we're watching an end to the, like I said, the U.S.-Israeli coalition, their federation, man. Why? Because their interests starting to diverge. Israel want to continue to fight and keep up the pressure, which Trump understand now. They keep fighting in this war and the straits stay closed, then there won't be no more oil being shipped out throughout the world. Well, not no more, but you know, the Strait of Hormuz is a very important spot when it comes to transporting oil. And with Israel continuously fighting them, Trump advisors, I guess, and got him to understand, like, man, you got to get them to stop. You got to make Netanyahu chill out, but he can't. Because the will of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai has brought division between these two. So Netanyahu is not going to listen, because the Lord hardened his heart like he hardened the heart of Pharaoh. To keep going, to keep pressing, to keep this war, because like I said, we're no longer in a time of peace, but a time of war. And it's the will of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai, as it just said here in Mark 3. All right. Let's see. All right. This is Luke 12:51. Suppose ye that I have come to give peace on earth, I tell you nay, but rather division. And he didn't, and Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai and brought division to the great whore, America, and our lover Israel. Now these two leaders are arguing with each other about what they want to do. But it's still the will of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai that this division came, man. He's splitting Esau Edom kingdom, and he's splitting the dukes of Esau Edom as well. We know in the end that Babylon the Great and Israel will both be destroyed by a nuclear missile, with Israel will be rebuilt. But now we're starting to see how Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai starting to slowly plan this out, because all the bullshit that America and Israel have done across the world, they really don't have no allies but each other. So what you think gonna happen if the if the if the two people who only have each other start split up? That's gonna make them even more weaker, and that's gonna embolden those other nations to come after them even more because neither one is backing the other. NATO is just about done with America because of Israel. You see how Jehovah Shema Shai brought that division, broke down the broke down the beast, NATO and the EU, and broke them away from that great whore of Babylon by using who? Israel. Like I stated earlier, the scripture of the least of the flocks should draw them out. They done drew America out, and also while drawing them out, then turned the rest of the allied nations against America, having America saying all type of shit, how they don't need NATO, how they are NATO, and the NATO nations need them. Now you have no one to run to because you done made enemies of everybody. But it was the will of Yahweh Shema Shai to bring this division upon you. Now you and your lover are at each other's neck. And you're going to continue to be at each other's neck because that's the will of Yahweh Shema Shai that it should happen. Let's see. This is Amos 3:3. Can two walk together except they be agreed? And the answer to this question is no. Now that we're seeing that America and Israel no longer agree on what they want to do, we're starting to see them not being able to walk together. We're starting to see them both side-eyeing each other like, man, I wish that motherfucker would try me. But that's the division that Yahweh Shai is bringing to these leaders of these different nations, especially those of the beast. Yahweh Shema Shai is destroying them from the inside out, man. See, a lot of people, a lot of nations, a lot of powers fall because of infighting. Shit, that what happened to us? Because of infighting. A lot of tribes, a lot of nations, a lot of leaders fall. And now we're seeing that that division, that fall coming through Israel and the United States. Because who's going to back Israel because of the war crime that they done committed? Nobody. America was its last great hope. And they're starting to break away from them. And America, because of Israel, alienated all their friends and allies, and they have nobody, man. We're seeing Yahweh Shema Shai breaking this thing up. Now, because they're fighting, they no longer agree on how they want to move. And as the scripture said, can two walk together except they be agreed? No, they can't. And we were watching that agreements fall apart live and in action. Call Lord Yahweh Shema Shai for that, man. All right. Gonna go here. Though hand join a hand, the wicked shall not go unpunished, but the seed of righteous shall be delivered. And even though America trying to get away from Israel, and Israel trying to get away from America, y'all done too much shit together. Y'all done talked down on other nations, invaded other nations, started this war. Whenever a ceasefire was happening, y'all always was sneak attack. Hey, it's over with. So when one get judged, the other gonna get judged. And that's the will of Yahweh Shema Shai, man. So y'all can go ahead and split, break up, fight, do whatever you want to do. But in the end, ultimately, you're gonna be destroyed. Because it's the will of Yahweh Shema Shai that this whore be burnt with fire and ultimately put down. So just remember, though hand join a hand, the wicked shall not go unpunished. And y'all both will holding hand, lock fingers, and everything. So both of y'all are gonna be punished because of the other and because of your own action. So now I want to end out here. Job 20:4-5. Knowest thou this of old, since man was placed upon the earth, that the triumph of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. And y'all done had y'all moment, man. That moment is almost up. It's about gone. And we know that this destruction that's gonna happen to Babylon and Israel won't happen to the MOTB is made mandatory. But the simple fact, that moment of triumph that y'all were feeling when y'all were just bombing all of Gaza and taking what you want, when y'all in total agreement, is no longer there, because Yahweh Shema Shai is using Iran to show you guys up on a national scale, man, on a global scale. I meant to say, these other countries starting to see that America is truly not what America used to be. Now, before I go, let me get that word moment, because just like a moment, just like an instant, just like a blink of an eye, that joy that they fed into, that they love so much, Yahweh Shema Shai has snatched it away from them, man. He already been taking the mirth out of Babylon the Great. Look what he done did to him just this quickly. Like I said, beforehand they was partying about when they destroyed Gaza. But now look at them. At each other's throat, ready to get away from each other. I'm gonna get that word moment. I want to get that before I go. Strong H 7281. Raga. In the outline of biblical usage, a moment, of adverb for a moment, at another moment. In preposition in a moment. Raga from Strong 87280, a wink of the eye, i.e., a very short space of time, an instant, a moment, a space, suddenly. Yeah, it was just a short space of time that they enjoyed their victory over Gaza, their victory over what that is, Cuba, not Cuba, but I forget which one it was, Salakia. See, that triumph was only for a moment. Now look at them, defeated, embarrassed, and shamed. But it was all the will of Yahweh Shema Shai, and that will is working even more so, cause now these two are at each other's throat, ready to throw each other under the bus. And it's a beautiful thing to see the downfall of your enemy. Call Lord Yahweh Shema Shai. I hope this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise to Yahweh Shema Shai. Shalom.